If you want to improve your credit score, you need to know this date. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 components of your credit score and the most important date to pay your credit card bill. Let's jump into what the 5 components are. First up, we have payment history, and this is going to be 35% of your score. Next, we have credit utilization, which is going to be 30% of your score. And then we have your credit age, which is going to be 15% of your score. And then the last 2 that we have is going to be credit mix, which is going to be 10% of your score. And then we have hard inquiries, which is going to be another 10%. Hard inquiries, hard inquiries. It's always been a big debate on how you actually pronounce this, but let me know down in the comments how you say it. But the most important thing about having a credit score is, yes, this tells the banks how responsible you are, but you have to have discipline. It's the key. You need to have a plan for when you use your credit card, and you need to be consistent in paying it off, because one of the things I see with a lot of people in finance is they get a card, they swipe, and they forget about it. They don't think about it. Oh, I'm going to pay the minimum payment. Well, you have 20 to 25% in interest, and now you've got a bigger problem on your hand. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the credit utilization and your payment history today. So let's jump into the first component of your credit score, and that is going to be payment history. So this is going to be the first and the most significant, because it's up to 298 points of your score. And so you want to make sure that you stay on top of this. You don't want to have a late payment, and the way that you prevent that is by having auto pay. I tell a lot of people auto pay is the way to be able to keep you from being late, making sure that you're paying things on time. And it also just eliminates stress. We have a lot of things that go on in our life to where we have other dates we have to keep up with. We have other bills we have to take care of. But if you go ahead and set it on auto pay, you don't have to worry about it. And if you use certain tools, maybe a Smart 7 budget planner or a type of plan, any type of budget that you have, to make sure that you have the money in your account to be able to pay it, you'll have no issues there. But let's talk about what is important. There is a due date. There are other dates, but let's talk about today. What is the most important date to pay your credit card? But before I jump into that, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more financial tips and learn how to grow your net worth. So what is the most important date for your credit card? And it's not your due date. It's actually your statement date. And you're like, what the heck is my statement date? I've never heard of that. The best way that I like to simplify it is your email date. And you're like, well, what does that mean? What is my email date? It is the date that your lender. So if you have a Discover or American Express card, it's the date that they send you your balance, how much you owe, what your due date is. That is your statement date. And this date is simply when it is reported to the credit bureaus. So it's when they send TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and they say, hey, such and such, you owe this. So you want to make sure that you have your balance down on this statement date. I would aim between 5 and 10%. And we're going to talk about this a little bit in the next slide about what your credit usage should be to be able to get the most points. But you want to aim for 5 to 10% and make sure that you keep it low when it's reported to the bureaus, because it's really important. It's important that you keep it low and stay balanced in your credit.
We paid off $17,000
in 100 days. We started in December, and at the end of December, we had paid off his credit card, which was, I think, like $3,500. In January, we started, the next task was my car. So from January to March 10th, we paid off $5,600 around that on my car.
Are you struggling with debt, or feeling like there's never enough at the end of each month? Or maybe you want to create more income, or maybe you want to start investing but don't know where to start? You're not alone, but you don't have to stay stuck there. The Earners Academy is a financial coaching program where we're helping countless individuals and families eliminate $3,000 to $4,000 in debt in less than 30 days, build full emergency funds in less than 90 days, and finally create financial margin inside of their budget. Through accountability, through a game plan, and through guidance, we'll help you on your way to financial freedom. So are you ready to take the first step? Book your consultation today and start building the financial future that you deserve. So let's talk about component number 2. And that is going to be your credit utilization. That is 30% of your score. And this is simply how much of your credit that you actually use. So an example here would be if you had a $10,000 limit on a card and you use $5,000, you have a 50% usage. And that's extremely high. Most FICO would say they want to keep you between under 30%, but you really want to aim between 5 and 10%. And you're probably wondering, why the heck is he not saying 0%? If you actually go look at FICO and they tell you what your actual grading is, you actually get the most amount of points between 5 and 6%. And here's why. If you're at 0%, unfortunately, they kind of penalize you because they're saying, oh, they're not using their credit card. Well, you still want to use your credit card and show it. And so here's an example. I'm not telling you to go spend your card and spend a lot of money. What I am saying is use it for something that you may already use. So for example here, let's say you have $1,000 credit card and your gas is $50. That is 5% of your credit card. You can go get gas for $50, let it report to your credit bureau on your statement date, and then pay it off the day after, and now you're back to zero. But you want to make sure that you're using this with boundaries. I'm not giving you a pass to go use your card just so you can have usage on it. No, we want to make sure that we're using it with boundaries and we have a plan to pay off our things. So let's jump into what the next component of it is, and that's going to be our credit age, and this is going to be 15% of your score, and this is basically the age of your credit card. So if you have cards that you've had for 9 to 10 years, the older is going to be the better here. But the key is with credit age is you don't want your accounts to close, because closing actually shortens your window. So if you had a card that's been open 9 years and it gets closed, whatever your next card is, it's going to shorten it up for you, and it may hurt your score a little bit. Now, it is 15%, but we still want to make sure that we keep them open. And you're wondering, well, what if I don't use the card? I would say if it's a store card, say you got something from Belk or, Target that you don't really use, just use the card maybe once every 6 months, or just use it every blue moon just to make sure that it's active and pay it off. Once again, this is not a pass for you to just use the card just to keep it open. Make sure you have a plan for that actual card. So let's jump into the next component, which is going to be your credit mix. And this is 10% of your score. So this is 85 points exactly. And this is simply just the mix of credit. Most people usually have a credit card. They usually have a car loan or a mortgage. You kind of want to show the bank that you're not just, you have a well-diversified portfolio of credit that you're using. And so what I like to teach people is to use the 5-1-1. And that's 3 credit cards, either a personal loan or a car loan and a mortgage. Most people have these. And I'm not going to suggest that you go get these just to have the 5-1-1, but at least if you have a pretty good mix of different credit, it does help your score. Let's jump into what the last component is, and that's going to be hard inquiries. And this is 10% of your score. So this is going to be when a creditor pulls your credit. So say if you want to go buy a house and you have to pull your credit to see what your actual credit score is. So there's 2 types. There's going to be your hard, which is going to be left on your credit report for 2 years, but this is going to be basically them pulling your entire credit report, seeing your history, seeing what you've done. So this does have an effect. I tell people usually 2 to 3 hard inquiries isn't going to hurt, but you don't want to have 9 or 10. You're just out applying for credit just to have it. So the soft is going to be, which is our second one, is going to be more like a pre-approval. So that's kind of like them kind of doing a soft check to see, okay, well, what's their credit history look like? But this actually does not report to your credit report. So this doesn't hurt you. It's just to pull it. So you've seen it. Maybe if you're thinking about buying a house, you go get a pre-approval. They'll tell you exactly like how much you can afford, right? But they don't actually tell you what your interest rate when you do that. This is just to see what you can afford. So it doesn't go on your credit report. It doesn't hurt you, but you don't want to still just keep pulling it just because. So be mindful of the things that you actually have. And that wraps up our video today. If you want to check out more content like this, be sure to check out videos like these.